exceptional gathering of leaders and partners. Allow me to acknowledge with utmost respect the distinguished First Ladies of Africa, who continue to champion women's empowerment and community transformation across the continent. We also warmly acknowledge our development partners, government representatives, leaders of mining institutions, and representatives of private sector organizations, NGOs, and WiM-Africa national chapters who have joined us here today. Your presence is a testament to the continental importance of this milestone action plan.
Excellencies, distinguished dignitaries, partners, and colleagues, today is a defining moment for Africa's mining and development landscape. The WiM-Africa Action Plan 2025 to 2030 is not just another framework. It is our shared roadmap to empower women, safeguard communities, and transform mining into a true driver of sustainable growth across the continent. Over the next 2.5 hours, we will hear goodwill messages from our leaders, walk through the priorities of this action plan, and work together to validate a $150 million roadmap. This plan brings together policy advocacy, youth leadership, cooperative development, value addition, and strong ESG commitment. All of this is grounded in the voices and realities of women across 36 African countries. Let me emphasize that this workshop is not simply about endorsing a document. It is about affirming the voices, the resilience, and the leadership of African women, alongside the commitment of our partners who stand with us on this journey. With that spirit, it is my honor and privilege to officially declare the WiM-Africa Action Plan Validation Workshop open. Excellencies, distinguished dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, we now move into our high-level leadership acknowledgement. We are deeply honored to acknowledge the tremendous support and leadership of the following First Ladies of Africa, whose commitments continue to shape the future of women, mining, and sustainable development. First, I would like to acknowledge Her Excellency Mrs. Marianne Mintsda, First Lady of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania. Her Excellency Dr. Fatima Mada Bao, First Lady of Sierra Leone, President of the Organization of African First Ladies for Development. Her Excellency Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON, First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Her Excellency Mrs. Dominique Claudine Altara, First Lady of Côte d'Ivoire. Her Excellency Mrs. Rachel Ruto, First Lady of the Republic of Kenya. If their excellencies or their protocol representatives are present, we kindly invite them to request unmuting so they may deliver their goodwill messages. Protocol officers may also use the chat to connect with our hosts or co-hosts for support. We look forward to hearing their voices of support for this continental action plan. Excellencies, distinguished participants, we now move into the session for goodwill messages. These messages are an important part of our workshop as they reflect the voices of leaders and institutions standing firmly behind the WiM-Africa Action Plan and its vision for the future of women in mining across the continent. It is my honor to first invite Mrs. Ajia Fatima Umaru Shinkafi, Executive Secretary of the Solid Minerals Development Fund, ably represented by Dr. Martina Ananaba, Deputy Director, Minerals and Project Development, to deliver a goodwill message. Dr. Martina, if you're in the room, I would like to hand over to you now.
Distinguished colleagues, partners, women leaders in Africa, representatives of government and the private sector, all protocols duly observed. I am honored to deliver this goodwill message on behalf of Hajia Fatima Umaru Shinkafi, the Executive Secretary of the Solid Minerals Development Fund, at such an important gathering, the validation of the Women in Mining Africa Action Plan 2025 to 2030. This gathering is a defining moment in our collective effort to reshape Africa's mining sector into one that is inclusive, equitable, innovative, and sustainably driven. It is a call to action for all of us to create a future where women are not merely participants, but central actors in decision-making, leadership, and wealth creation across the mineral value chain. The Women in Mining Africa Action Plan is a bold and visionary framework that resonates with the SMDF's mandate in its strategic pillars, especially in the areas of capacity and coalition building and economic empowerment, which align with our commitment to strengthen institutions, build skills, open access to finance, and advance responsible mining practices. As a catalytic institution created by the Nigerian government to bridge financing and stimulate private sector-led growth, our approach is holistic. We deploy flexible financing instruments, build economic partnerships, and connect investors to extensive professional networks. The SMDF recognizes that sustainable progress cannot rest on infrastructure and finance alone, but should be anchored in inclusion and equity, as we believe that an inclusive mining industry is not only fairer, but also more resilient, competitive, and transformative. The validation of this action plan is therefore a powerful invitation to deepen collaboration and scale impact. Women in Mining Africa is setting a new standard for the industry, one where women's leadership, expertise, and entrepreneurship are recognized as vital to a vibrant, competitive, and sustainable mining future. In closing, let me emphasize that the strength of Africa's mining sector lies in its diversity, and its future depends on the boldness of its inclusivity. Together, let us build a mining future that is just, inclusive, and economically transformative. A future where women are also fully empowered as leaders, innovators, and custodians of Africa's rich mineral heritage. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that insightful and encouraging message, and for the continued commitment of the SMDF to advancing gender equity and sustainable mining. Thank you. Now it is my privilege to invite Her Excellency Dr. Amani Asfor, President of the Africa Business Council, to share a goodwill message with us. Dr. Amani, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. It's really an honor and pleasure to be with such great ladies and distinguished guests for this very important gathering of the launch for the validation workshop for the work plan. I believe women in mining is a huge, crucial, important initiative for all our continent. I am giving my remarks from ONGA, from United Nations General Assembly in New York. And if you are here, you will hear all the African leaders, presidents, policy organs talking about how we can manage our own mineral resources, how we are able to empower our small-scale artisana, our women in mining, for value addition, beneficiation, and industrialization. My dear distinguished guests and sisters, this is really the time that we as African women, we as the private sector, come together and put the pillars of engagement. So as Africa Business Council, we have 3 pillars that we call them the triad of empowerment. That is very important, which is first pillar is private sector strengthening, including SMEs, women and youth. So we need to empower our women in the mining sector to see how we are able to equip them with the technology, with the financing, with the information, with the markets. And the second pillar is about policy advocacy, how we have our policy organs and all our leaders to give the policy that for investment in the mineral sector, investment in financing our women in mining, investment, and see how we are able to have value addition beneficiation for our raw materials. And the third pillar, my dear sisters, is about product development, how we transform our minerals into end product. And this will conclude all the minerals on the continent. For instance, like gemstones. You know that gemstones actually goes to Jaipur, India, to be cut and polished in India, and then big markets come and buy from there. It's time we have our own African centers for cutting and polishing our own stones, to see how we have lapidaries across the continent, to have our connection through the women in mining and all the institutions, to put a roadmap for investment in the sector. And doing that, actually, we are hosting in Cairo, inshallah, the CAMRAD, which is the Congress for Mineral Resources Development, 1 to 3 October, with the main theme of value addition, industrialization, and local content strengthening for our African raw materials. So it is time, my dear sister, that we come together as institution, and we will be happy as Africa Business Council to see how we have this empowerment of our SMEs, women and youth, through business facilitation, through trade linkages, through policy advocacy, and of course capacity building for all our women, and to see how we are able together to transform our raw materials into and the product, to have a made in Africa product which is competitive, value added, and high quality. I don't know if you still hear me, or
loud and clear, madam.
Yes, you can still hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. We can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. So having said that, we really, the plan of action of the WiM aligns strongly with our strategic plan of Africa Business Council 2040 and 2026, which prioritized our women in mining. And just to let you just a small story, you know, I was in Italy for the biggest jewelry show in the whole world. It's called Vicenza Oro. And the first window, you can see a huge necklace, which is made of diamond and emerald. And I asked how much it was. It was 500,000 euro. I asked from where is the emerald. They said proudly from Zambia. And I looked at all the exhibition. Not a single person from Africa was there in this big exhibition, where they have our own gemstones, our own diamond, our own emerald, but it is not us as African who are really benefiting for this. It's time to change the narrative. Next year, I took 9 women in mining to exhibit there. It's time that the international market is coming to source directly from us as African women, and we empower our own people with reference to cutting and polishing, and not only gemstones, but all the mining. We see that 2030 will have 300 million electrical vehicles. Who is going to industrialize the lithium batteries? It is us in Africa. So we need to work together and to see how we are able to strengthen our private sector, including SMEs, women and youth. And we will happy as Africa Business Council to come together, because we believe our minerals is our own ownership of our African people that need to benefit from it, especially women in mining. Happy to be here with you, and I'm honored to be with you together. And let us work together to have the real prosperity, the Africa we want, that we are working together to have the real prosperity through value addition manifestation. And in all my speeches at the end, I always say, we can do it, Africa, to be prosperous, and we are always challenging our African leaders when they say they want Africa free from hunger, free from disease, free from poverty, free from illiteracy. Say no. Value addition, beneficiation, and industrialization will not have Africa free from hunger, but well-nourished, not free from illiteracy, but well-educated, not free from disease, but healthy, not free from poverty, but wealthy. This is the Africa we want. Thank you, my dear sisters.
That's right. Thank you so much. We can do it. We deeply appreciate your words, Dr. Asfor, and the African Business Council's ongoing role in strengthening women's participation in business and value chains across Africa. Thank you so much, ma'am.
My pleasure.
Excellencies, distinguished ladies, esteemed colleagues and partners, we now move to a very important part of today's program, the keynote technical address and formal presentation of the WiM-Africa Action Plan 2025 to 2030. This action plan is the product of months of collective work and collaborations across the continent, and it represents a bold framework to transform mining in Africa through inclusivity, innovation, and sustainable development. And it is my honor to invite Dr. Comfort Asokoro-Ogaji, the Executive Director of Women in Mining Africa, to present this landmark action plan. Dr. Comfort will walk us through the strategic focus areas and the 7-point program agendas, the institutional architectural that will drive delivery, the WiM-Africa Institute for Leadership, Sustainable Mining, and Value Addition and Beneficiation Laboratories, the regional ops, and the $150 million financing framework, and the theory of change that underpins this continental vision. The Executive Director, Dr. Comfort, the floor is now yours. Over to you, ma'am.
Very much, Dr. Adiola and Candice. Thank you for the good commencement and the progression so far. Distinguished leaders in the room, my colleagues in the mining industry, our partners. I can see some of you in the room already, our development partners, and every guest that have come here today. Good afternoon to you all. My job is simple at this time, is to quickly take us through the content of the WiM-Africa Action Plan 2025. But before I do that, I want to take a moment to appreciate the incredible coordination team that has been with us on this journey. Some of you have been here from the beginning, over a year ago when we started the work. And others joined along the way. And still, we have more people who are still joining us. Each of you has played a pivotal role in shaping
this action plan. This photo you see on the screen is just a few faces from a much larger family. We have received overwhelming interest. Yeah, and for that, I am deeply grateful for the support. To everyone who reviewed our files, who commented, who corrected, who contributed to the documents that we shared. Right up until last night, we were still receiving submissions where people were still sending their comments. So this demonstrates the high level of interest and the ownership of this document across our network. I also want to extend my heartfelt thanks to our advisory board members. I can see most of us in the room. Thank you so much. Your expertise and counsel have sharpened the focus of the plan and have strengthened its credibility at both national and continental levels. Your guidance, have really, really helped, most especially when I really need a voice to say, no, this can be done. You can move. You can take the action. You can do what needs to be done. Thank you so much, all of you, for the support so far and the advice that you have given us to be able to transform these from just a vision into a framework that is well structured for results. And also, I want to deeply appreciate, and we are very, very honored to have our first ladies to give us the support that we are having right now. They have expressed a keen interest. Our women, the topmost political office in most countries that we have reached, they have taken bold steps to support this mission. Your engagement demonstrates not only political, but also continental leadership in advancing this empowerment framework that we have now put together. I also want to recognize the commitment of our development partners. Most notable, I want to recognize Africa Export-Import Bank and others, please, whom we continue to engage to build meaningful agreements, MOUs, partnership. Your involvement altogether reflects a shared continental commitment to gender equity. Thank you very much. I also want to extend a profound gratitude to Her Excellency, Mrs. Miriam Mint Da, for graciously agreeing to deliver the validation address. This is a true demonstration of leadership, a visionary leader, and commitment to women's empowerment is one of, I was reading up on her. Up to last night, I was still researching about her. I'm so impressed with you, madam, and thank you very much for all that you do. Please pardon me because of time. I cannot call every name on this long list that I have in front of me. But let me say this clearly, that everyone who has contributed, no matter how little, we are deeply grateful as women, as your daughters, as your sisters, as your children, your wives. We are very, very grateful. Your efforts, whether through a comment, through a review, through a correction, or a word of encouragement, have shaped this journey. So now let me move quickly to the overview that I would be giving to give us the WiM-Africa Action Plan overview, which is the framework that represents years of vision, of consultations, like you saw those faces earlier. Those are the faces of those that have contributed to the work across the continent. And this represents the hopes of our women across Africa. Dr. Amani, thank you for that comment that you made. You share the same passion with me, and I'm happy to hear what you're doing to drive the mining sector forward, most especially the gemstones industry. Why does this action plan matters? Because Africa holds nearly a third of world's mineral wealth, yet our women who carry the backbone of communities, they remain marginalized in decision-making, in policy making, and beneficiation. This action plan is our collective response to this challenge. It aims to move women from just surviving in the mining pits. It aims to move them to significance. It aims to ensure they are owners, they are innovators, and they are leaders in the mining value chain. It's to ensure that when the whole world is talking about our minerals in Africa, that you see our women in the forefront, driving the change that we need in business, driving the change that we need in livelihood support of our children and even in community, upholding the community. This is why the action plan matters so dearly to women in mining Africa. We needed a roadmap. We needed a plan. We needed a blueprint. We needed something to run with in every corner of Africa, in the communities, the rural communities, and in the boardrooms, and in the palaces, and in the villas, or the state houses. We needed something that would drive the change that we are advocating for. So the methodology we adopted for this action plan was quite simple, but also complex at the same time, because a lot of work went into it. This plan is not an abstract idea. It was built through rigorous consultation in over 36 countries. As at yesterday, the Secretariat was telling me that it's over 40 countries. But at the time I was preparing my speech, it was still 36 countries, with governments, with continental institutions, NGOs who are not even in the mining industry, but are so interested in driving the sector, industries, communities. This methodology we adopted was consulting everybody. We aligned our work also with the continental Africa's existing framework. Notably is the Agenda 2063, the African Mining Vision, the AFCFTA, that is the African Continental Free Trade Area. These are frameworks that we studied, did research to be able to come up with this action plan. We also studied the gender equality and women's empowerment strategy of the African Union, and also AMREC, that is the African Mineral and Energy Resources Classification and Management System. We also looked at the PARC, PARC, that is the Pan-African Resourcing Corridor, sometimes referred to as Pan-African Resource Corridor. So the process was simple but powerful. Research, consultation, drafting, validation, and now adoption today. And then after now, most importantly, action. I tell my team all the time, you may have a beautiful plan, but if you do not have the action, take the action on a daily basis, it will just be a plan. So at the core of this action plan is the 3 strategic focus areas you are seeing on the screen. We have the coalition building. These are already familiar to almost everyone who has worked with us. It has become like an anthem to us. So I will not begin to explain it one after the other, but these are the focus areas. The last being economic empowerment through value addition. Personally, I take this as, a personal ambition, so to speak, because we need to be empowered. We need to add value. We need to show up. We need to earn. We need to take charge of the sector as women who are already in the pit doing a great work. So these 3 pillars are carried forward through our 7-point program agenda. We call it 7PPA, for ease of reference. And this is as shown on your screen: women-led mineral value addition and market linkages. Thank you, Afreximbank. We've got some plan on ground to make sure that this happens. Women-only mining zones for safety and also cooperative development. We have the ESG and climate resilience for women in mining is very robust. Yes, we have those plans, but the action plan states clearly how even the grassroots women, those who cannot be in this room today, those who cannot join us on Zoom, but they're there doing the work and benefiting the world from the pit where they are working. We have this robust structure of actions that we are going to take to make sure that ESG and climate resilience gets to them and that they benefit. And also the legal support and policy advocacy for women in mining is part of our strategic, our 7-point program agenda. And then the next generation, we have a serious, in fact, special focus on the next gen women in mining, because we want to invest in the future of our women. We want to raise leaders. We want them to be the future. Today is the history of yesterday. It's the future of yesterday. We are now intentionally putting together a plan for the future, and that has to be through the next generation, the young ones that are coming up in the universities, and the response have been huge. Then we have the WiM-Africa Research and Data Hub. Thank you so much. I see some of our advisory board members, those who are really interested in this research, and also our PhD holders everywhere, giving me different topics, thematic topics for research. This is now our time. Let us drive this. Let us generate data. Let us have evidential documents that we can use to plan and to scale up eventually. Then lastly on the screen is the digital and media influence in mining advocacy. That's exactly what we're doing, because we are all in different locations all around the world, but we are gathered here, almost 400 of us, 356 right now. All of us gathered here because of digital and media influence. You were able to hear from us, apart from those we sent direct letters to. So this advocacy will become intense in this 5 years. So moving quickly, I would like to talk about the flagship program, the one that is now on the front burner of everything that we do, which is the Multi-Mineral Beneficiation Lab. This is one of the flagship initiatives in the creation of laboratories across the continent. So our institute, good news, we have even secured a landed property to have this development of an institute, but this we secured in Nigeria. So this is really an amazing first step for us. So at the institute, which will be headquartered in Nasarawa State in Nigeria, we will house a lithium, gemstones, and industrial minerals demonstration laboratory. We want our women to know how to go about value addition from these laboratories. Alongside the laboratories, we will have the leadership and ESG trainings going on, certification trainings, and across regions, we intend to specialize in different locations. For instance, in Sierra Leone, we are looking at the Mano River countries. We are looking at situating one of the labs in Sierra Leone, which will be for gold and diamonds. And then in Botswana, we are looking at the diamonds and the gemstones. And in Tanzania, we are looking at tanzanite and gold, and cobalt and copper in the DRC, and then phosphate in Morocco. A lot of work has gone into selecting these locations. And also, before I forget, Ghana is also gold and manganese. These labs will be more than technical facilities. They will be centers of opportunities for our girls, for our women, building Africa's beneficiation, skills, and creating women-led enterprises that are ready for the global market. The other day, I took some gemstones and I took it to Hatton Cross in London, because there's this vast gemstone market there. And the issue where I was disadvantaged was majorly because the value addition, in fact, there was no value at all added, and it didn't go anywhere. So I came back home and I say, hey, we've got work to do. We've got skills to build. We've got learning to do. And these labs will be our gateway to really adding value to not just gemstones, but all of the minerals that we have identified. I would like to say that the selection of each site has been guarded by a clear criteria, aligning each lab's mineral focus with the host country's competitive advantage, and accessibility also for women-led enterprises, and regional trade opportunities also under AFCFTA, okay? So, but most importantly, the action plan also makes provision for our leaders who are in the room today or whose country WiM-Africa have not gotten a strong hold to be able to have the laboratory set up. We are making provisions in the action plan to develop similar laboratories within their national context. That is, wherever we have commitment and drive, wherever we have a strong drive that is demonstrated by the leaders, we intend to also, it is flexible enough to have these labs situate in different countries. I will talk a little bit, I have to rush now, regarding our financing framework. So to drive this work, we have a structured $150 million blended financing framework for the 2025-2030 period. This is not only donor-driven, it is also having a public-private partnership component to it. And then we have the CSR angle, and then we have the development finance institutions as well. So every dollar will be guided by transparency, accountability, and we also have in the action plan a framework for monitoring and evaluation. It's fully captured in the continental blueprint. So I always want to talk about the theory of change. I always ask the team members and the different committees and chapters, how do I know this is working? So continentally, our theory of change is simple, but it's powerful. When women and youth are equipped with training, when advocacy goes up, when research is intense and we have data, and when technical labs are functional like we have planned to do, our women become leaders. Our women, young and middle-aged like myself and old, become innovators irrespective of their age. And we become entrepreneurs, successful ones. And we become people who produce strong cooperatives, inclusive policies. We see ESG compliant operations, and we see thriving communities. The ultimate impact is a gender responsive, sustainable, and prosperous Africa mining sector. I will do a quick summary now to give us a yearly outlook. In year one of the WiM-Africa Action Plan, we are concentrating on foundation and chapter development. We want to strengthen our institution. We want to have partnership. We want to increase the scope of partnership that we currently have. This is where we operationalize our secretariat. This is where we strengthen our directorates. We currently have 5 directorates and 15 bureaus. Because of time, I will not take us through that. It's on our website. Any information you need, you can just go there. You're a WiM organization, you're an NGO, you are a potential partner, an existing partner. We have all this information uploaded on our website, which is www.wimafrica.org/action plan. Kindly, if you can drop that in the chat box, Secretariat. We consistently upload documents on that particular page. So all you need to do is to download. If you're a local organization, a university, a chapter anywhere, is to download those files. They are simple to use. We have templates. We have reporting frameworks. Please visit that site and download the files. So coming back to this year one, we will launch over 30 national chapters. And we will launch also unnumbered, that means large number of multiple chapters to be able to spread our footprints in universities, in mining host communities, in governments, in political spheres, in religious groups, in national structures, giving women and youths the platform no matter where they are. We want to give them the platform to connect, to lead, and to grow. So training is also a central part at this stage of stage one. Even our volunteers need a lot of training, which we are already having quarterly training for them, but it is central in this year one. We want to have over 5,000 women and youth expected to benefit from standardized leadership, ESG, and cooperative development models that we are going to be created. So by the end of this phase, year one, our action plan will not just be a document, it will be a living platform with real chapters. I will show us a little bit. These are thematics chapters, by the way, showing on the screen, chapters of WiM-Africa. While we operate association style, we also, that is for coalition, we also run focal thematic chapters to drive specific goals that I have outlined for us in the 7 PPA. So these chapters are global. They are not necessarily in a community. So for instance, we can have our 7 PPA number 1, and we have a chapter for that set of people who are passionate about driving that particular agenda. So these are ongoing results in the chapter rollouts. You can go to the next slide. The faces of leadership and innovation is what you see. These are our beautiful girls and women and sisters like me and wives creating chapters all across Africa, in Namibia, in Nigeria, in Zimbabwe, and all across. We are having different types of chapters that are coming up. This is in year one plan. So as part of our 2025 priorities, these new chapters are being rapidly activated across different spheres. More will be created speedily in the months ahead because we need to own this plan. This is why we have these chapters. Without ownership, we will not be able to go anywhere. Notably, I want to applaud the Namibia chapter. I could see they were all in a room right now, and they're streaming to have to join this meeting. This is great. This is beautiful. Thank you. It is not to say that I notice only Namibia chapter. I can see other chapter members that are in the room, please. I'm not being biased, okay? So in year 2, we have the program consolidation and Lego reform. So we will shift gears, building to consolidating. This year is about embedding our flagship programs into national and regional structures. Our legal and policy agenda becomes central part of what we do with all the regional bodies, the RECs, including ECOWAS, EAC, and ECAS. We want to harmonize the efforts. We want to work with partners, WiM organizations, some which are in this room today. We also want to have AFCFTA market linkages to begin to take shape in the second year. With women-led cooperatives, we are going to go full force into cooperatives development. So in this year, this is the year where WiM-Africa moves from pilot intervention to continental programs. I'll go quickly now. I'm getting signal to stop talking. Slide 3 is, year 3, I mean to say, is we are going to focus on research and cooperatives, and regional integration will be deepened, And by the end of the year, 20 countries will have fully aligned with the 7-point program agenda, demonstrating that women's participation in mining is not just a side agenda, but will be a central pillar when you're talking about the mining sector in Africa. And the next is year 4, which will now be, that's 2029. So in 2029, we enter what I call the acceleration year, because this is when WiM-Africa Institute for Leadership, Sustainable Mining and Value Addition comes to life. By then, we want to believe that it is ready for use, it's fully constructed, operational with all of the equipment that is needed, fully equipped, the lab fully equipped, alongside the Institute as we launch the laboratories, focusing on those minerals that I mentioned earlier. So by the end of 2029, WiM-Africa will be recognized as both a continental think tank and a hands-on training platform for equipping women with the technical skills that they need, with the leadership skills, tools that they need, and enterprises, opportunities, all across the continent in mining value addition. Then finally, year 5, that's 2030, we will be checking sustainability of our programs, we will be transitioning, and we will be conducting evaluation. So we will focus on independent evaluation, which will be conducted, and we will have our 5-year impact report, which will be published, documenting results, lessons, and way forward. And it will be also culminating in a high-level Pan-African Summit of Women in Mining to showcase outcomes, to secure more commitments, and hand over sustainability models to our chapters as much as we can. So, in closing, by the close of 2030, WiM-Africa will not only have delivered measurable impact, but will also have set the stage for the next decade of women-led transformation in Africa's mining. Finally, the WiM-Africa Action Plan is almost here. Validation will make it a living framework. It will make it a document ready to transform women, a document ready to transform mining, a document ready to transform Africa. So I call on all of us in the room today to join us in these continental milestones. We need you wherever you are. We need you. We want you to commit today to work with us. We want every action taken towards progress. We want policies. We want to contribute to the policy reforms, to partnerships, to more programs. We want that to bring us closer to an inclusive and sustainable mining future. God bless us all in the room. God bless our leaders that are in the room and our leaders in Africa. And also, God bless Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Executive Director of WiM-Africa, Dr. Comfort Asokoro-Ogaji, for such a visionary presentation of the WiM-Africa Action Plan. Thank you so much. Your address has clearly outlined the vision and the priorities before us, and it reminds us why this validation workshop is so important. It is not only to endorse the plan, but also to ensure collective ownership across government, partners, and communities. Ladies and gentlemen, let us appreciate the Executive Director with our emojis. Thank you, Dr. Comfort, for this keynote address. Excellencies,